How one prisoner outsmarted 300 guards, the genius of disguise. The man who walked out. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button, because after this story, you'll never trust a man in uniform again. It was supposed to be a routine transfer, a short drive, a signature, and a cell door slamming shut. But what began as a standard prisoner transport in 1969 became one of the most humiliating moments in U.S. prison history. The man at the center of it all? Frank Abagnale, age 31. Convicted for fraud, forgery, and impersonation. Not violent, not dangerous, but dangerously smart. He'd already scammed banks, airlines, and even hospitals, posing as a pilot, a lawyer, and a doctor before his arrest. Every move was executed with calm, confident precision. His latest trick, though, would rewrite the playbook on deception forever. The story starts in Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. Frank had been there only 4 months, yet the guards already liked him. He was polite, articulate, even charming. Unlike most inmates, he didn't curse or complain. He helped new guards understand procedures, filed paperwork correctly, and spoke with an authority that didn't belong behind bars. No one questioned how he knew so much about the system, or why he took such interest in how federal inspections worked. One Friday morning, chaos erupted in the administrative wing. An inspector was rumored to be visiting, someone from Washington, sent to investigate staff conduct. Tension spread fast. Even the warden straightened his tie and barked orders. Then, a man in a neatly pressed shirt and black tie appeared at the security checkpoint. He carried a clipboard, wore a laminated badge clipped to his pocket, and introduced himself with steady confidence. "Inspector Frank Williams," he said. "I'm here to review your internal transfer procedures." The guard looked him over, saw the paperwork, saw the seal, saw the confidence, and waved him through. The problem? There was no Inspector Frank Williams. There was only Frank Abagnale. He had spent weeks observing how inspectors entered and left the facility. He memorized their tone, their timing, their body language. Using stolen letterhead and a typewriter from the prison library, he forged federal credentials so convincingly that even the most seasoned officer wouldn't have looked twice. Inside, Frank moved like he belonged. He made notes on his clipboard, nodded at guards, even scolded one for improper logging practices. By noon, no one questioned his authority. Then came the masterstroke. In the holding area, 2 actual marshals were preparing to transfer a prisoner to another facility. Frank glanced at the paperwork, frowned, and spoke with irritation. "This process is out of order," he said. "Who authorized this? You've just earned yourself an infraction." The marshals froze, intimidated. Then he sighed, played the part perfectly. "Tell you what, I'll handle it personally. Transfer this inmate to me, I'll finish the paperwork back in Washington." And just like that, they handed over a prisoner. But that wasn't his real goal. He was testing how easy it was to walk someone out of federal custody. A week later, he used the same routine, except this time, the prisoner he was transferring was himself. With forged documents, borrowed clothes, and a guard's escort he charmed into compliance, Frank Abagnale strolled right through the main gate. No violence, no alarms, no chase, just confidence. When the shift change occurred that evening, his absence wasn't noticed for nearly 8 hours. By then, Frank was already on a flight to Chicago under a different name, reading a newspaper headline about a missing federal inspector. The prison launched a full-scale internal investigation. Guards were questioned. Procedures were rewritten. The warden resigned within weeks. But none of them could answer one simple question. How could a man under maximum security convince everyone he was the one in charge? The FBI formed a task force overnight. Agents from 3 states began hunting for him. His name, face, and aliases flooded police networks. But by the time they traced the paperwork trail, they discovered something that made their blood run cold. The credentials he used, the badge, the ID, the authorization seal, had come from inside the prison's own office. And whoever had helped him make them was still working there. The man who knew too much. By the time the FBI arrived at Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, the air inside felt radioactive, not from fear, but embarrassment. Every officer, every clerk, every guard was a suspect in the biggest internal humiliation in federal prison history. But Frank Abbott? He was already gone. 2 weeks after his escape, agents began piecing together fragments of his trail: a motel in Birmingham, a car rental in Memphis, a diner waitress in Little Rock who remembered a sharp-dressed man with a federal badge. He was moving fast, but never recklessly. Every time they closed in, he vanished like smoke. Special Agent Raymond Cross, a seasoned investigator with a face permanently hardened by frustration, was assigned to the case. He wasn't after blood. He wanted reputation. "No one," he said to his team, "makes the Bureau look like fools and walks away smiling." Cross spent his first week buried in paper. He read every form Frank had touched, every signature he'd forged, every internal report he'd created while behind bars. The conclusion hit him like a slap. Frank hadn't just studied the prison system. He'd memorized the FBI's internal procedures too, the hierarchy, the lingo, even how agents authenticated warrants. And that's when Cross realized the horrifying truth. Frank wasn't running from the system. He was using it to build another identity inside it. A call came in from St. Louis. A man claiming to be a federal auditor had just inspected a regional parole office. The staff remembered his charm, his confidence, and the way he walked out with 3 official files. The man had introduced himself as Special Agent Frank Daniels. Cross slammed his palm against the table. "Daniels? Williams? Abbott? He's recycling his own initials." The task force went on high alert. Agents traced airline manifests, cross-referenced hotel bookings, even ran checks on anyone using a government ID within 3 states. Every lead circled back to the same pattern: someone pretending to be one of them. Meanwhile, Frank's next move was unfolding like clockwork. In Houston, a young parole officer named Evelyn Parks was working late when a man in a Navy suit knocked on her glass door. "Special Agent Daniels, Department of Justice," he said, flashing his ID. "We've had reports of internal leaks in your division. I'll need to review your recent parole transfers." His tone was calm, professional. Evelyn, flustered but compliant, handed him everything he asked for: case files, forms, even her access keycard for the records room. "Don't worry," he said, flashing that same disarming smile. "You'll be mentioned favorably in my report." By morning, he was gone, along with 14 federal identity files, 3 blank ID cards, and a typewriter. Frank wasn't running anymore. He was rebuilding himself from the inside out. For weeks, the FBI chased ghosts. Every hotel clerk described the same man: polite, composed, always paying in cash, always one step ahead. But in one diner in Oklahoma City, they finally caught a break. The cashier remembered something strange. He said he was a government man, she recalled, but he tipped in counterfeit bills. Cross's eyes widened. "He's testing us," he muttered. "He wants to see how far the net stretches." The counterfeit bills led to a print shop in Dallas, where investigators found traces of his typewriter ribbon, ink with federal seal imprints, and a cigarette but with his DNA. But even that wasn't the real blow. On the wall of the print shop, someone had left a note pinned under a map. Written in Frank's careful, clean handwriting: "You chase rules. I chase the people who write them." Cross clenched the note in his fist. He was done playing defense. The Bureau established a sting operation using fake internal memos, counterfeit credentials, and even a decoy inspector position, bait designed to lure Frank into making contact again. And it worked. A week later, a man calling himself Inspector Harold Gray showed up at a federal field office in New Orleans, carrying the same type of ID Frank had used before. His voice, his posture, his charm, all identical. Agents surrounded the building. Cross himself entered first, weapon drawn, heart pounding. He expected chaos, shouting, maybe even a chase. Instead, the man at the desk raised his hands slowly and smiled. "You've got the wrong guy," he said. "I'm not Frank Abbott." "Then who are you?" Cross demanded. The man's smile never faltered. "Your new compliance inspector," he said. "And if you checked your system before busting in, you'd know my credentials are valid." Cross hesitated. He looked down at the ID. It was valid, verified through the Bureau's database, complete with photo and clearance code. But when he looked up again, the man was gone. And on the desk where he'd been sitting, there was a single folded document. Inside was an official transfer form, dated 3 weeks in the future. The subject's name read, Special Agent Raymond Cross. And beside it, in black ink, a note. Next time, check who signs your release. The Perfect Disguise. By dawn, Agent Raymond Cross hadn't moved from his office chair. The blinds were still drawn, the lamp still burning, and that single sheet of paper, the fake transfer order with his name on it, lay open on the desk like a confession written by the devil himself. Every signature was perfect. Every code matched Bureau format. Even his own signature, replicated down to the slant of his pen pressure, sat neatly at the bottom. Frank Abagnale hadn't just escaped capture. He'd made Cross part of the story. 2 weeks passed, and the Bureau tightened its circle. New verification systems. New security measures. But every update led to another leak, another ghost. Frank was no longer running from the FBI. He was running as them. Then came a phone call. A southern drawl on the other end. Agent Cross? You'll want to see this. A man matching Frank's description had been spotted at a small regional airfield in Baton Rouge, boarding a charter plane to Washington, D.C. under federal clearance. His name on the manifest? Special Agent Raymond Cross. Cross's blood went cold. When the Bureau pulled the flight records, the clearance check had indeed come from his account. He hadn't just been impersonated, he'd been cloned inside the system. By the time agents reached the airport, the plane was gone. It never landed in D.C. Instead, 3 days later, an envelope arrived at FBI headquarters. No return address. Inside was a photograph of Frank sitting casually in a D.C. hotel lobby, smiling at the camera, newspaper in hand. The headline on the paper read, FBI expands ID fraud task force. It was the same task force hunting him. The Bureau went into overdrive, cross-referencing every name, every badge, every inspector in Washington. They found something extraordinary. A new hire had joined the Justice Department 3 weeks prior. Clean background, spotless credentials, glowing references from high-ranking agents. His listed supervisor? Raymond Cross. And the name on his ID? Frank Williams. When Cross saw it, he nearly laughed. It was the same alias Frank had used the day he walked out of prison. He hadn't changed his pattern, because he didn't need to. The system had evolved to protect him. At 8:45 p.m., agents raided the Justice Building. They found the office. Papers neatly stacked. Desk empty. On the wall, pinned beside an official Bureau emblem, was a note written in perfect cursive. You finally found me. Took you long enough. Next to it, a key card labeled Inspector Access Level 4. The guards had no idea how it got there. Cross sank into the chair. The smell of cologne still lingered in the air. A cup of coffee sat half-finished. Frank had been there, maybe hours earlier, blending in like one of them. And that's when Cross noticed the terminal lights still blinking. He leaned in and saw a draft email on the screen. It was addressed to all federal divisions, compliance unit. The subject line read, Security Update, Mandatory Identity Verification for all field agents. Cross scrolled down. Attached was an authorization file. At the bottom of it, his own digital signature. Frank hadn't come to mock them. He'd come to update the system, to rewrite the rulebook again, this time from the inside. The Bureau's servers confirmed the update later that night. The new protocol spread nationwide. Thousands of agents followed the new identity verification standard. And hidden in that code, embedded deep inside the update, was one encrypted field written by Frank himself. Clearance code, FW 1969. His initials. The year he first escaped. He wasn't gone. He was inside every login, every ID, every digital badge. No one ever saw Frank Abagnale again. His photo remained on FBI wanted lists for a decade before being quietly removed. But strange things continued happening. Missing case files, phantom approvals, travel clearances issued to no one. Even Agent Cross's own clearance was suspended once, for suspicious, dual activity. When he checked the logs, he saw that his ID had accessed a terminal in Seattle the same hour he'd been in DC. He stared at the report, remembering Frank's words, "Next time, check who signs your release." Cross eventually retired, worn down by the weight of a ghost that couldn't be caught. But sometimes, when he logged into the Bureau archives to read old cases, a chat window would flicker open at the bottom of the screen for a brief second. One line of text would appear, then vanish. "You still chasing me, Ray?" And to this day, they say the Bureau's internal systems still carry that same hidden clearance code, FW 1969, the fingerprint of a man who didn't break the law to disappear. He became the law that lost him. If you think this story was wild, wait until you hear about the detective who caught a killer that never existed. Subscribe, because you haven't heard anything yet.